Hey guys, welcome back. This is SubLBC, and we're going to be doing a kind of a nuanced video episode of Growing for Freedom. And I know that a lot of people that watch my videos are really obviously very interested in the processes as it involves dealing with the plants directly. You know, a lot of you guys want to get a lot of in-depth growing information and kind of see things how they happen in the flowering room and also in the vegetative nursery. But in this video, I'm actually be talking a little bit about the human elements, you know, the nuanced things and some of the important changes I think that you can make to really make things easier on you. I've been a big believer for a very long time in human-plant symbiosis, not so much in a spiritual sense, but in a psychological sense. You know, that if your gardens are very not only appealing to the plants and what they need, but if it's also appealing to make your life really easier, kind of like a feng shui mentality, it goes a long way in just making it very easy for you to do your work in your garden. So we're going to be talking about that in today's video. And along the way, going to also talk about the evolution of SubLBC, you know, how all this shit started. And, you know, for all you guys that are new, going to be kind of talking a little bit about some history. For all you guys that have seen this, you know, we're going to be kind of taking a little bit of a trip down memory lane. So we are actually hanging out, guys, right now in the work area for the 4,000 watt moneymaker, which is actually right behind that door. And for all you guys that have been following me for a while, since, you know, the old SubLBC channel, you know, right behind that door, guys, is where it all began. We had the 3x5 tent in there. I had my bed and my office, and that's essentially where I lived. And a lot of this exterior space was unused until I started actually setting up racks, which went right against this wall. And, you know, essentially used that to vegetate plants for the 4,000 watt, which used to be downstairs, and also to, you know, root clones, you know, because I was running 4 mother plants inside of the 3x5 tent. So obviously when the 4,000 watt room got moved from downstairs to upstairs, it was no longer able for me to habitate in this room. So obviously I had to move all my shit out here into the main area. But, you know, this kind of causes a problem. You know, it's kind of shitty to live right next to a flowering room like this, because when it comes time to harvest, you know, you got to have people coming in and out, you know, and I'm not like the cleanest person in the world. And although this place has been cleaned up quite a bit, you know, it's a lot of clutter, and you have to transport the plants to another dedicated work area. And although it kind of made sense when the Epic 6K was up and running, because it didn't make sense to have 2 work areas, and that place kind of had its own work area, it was still a pain in the ass nonetheless to really have a cohabitation going on here with the 4K system. And now that the Epic 6K is gone, we're able to really optimize and take better use of space for us to actually work. So right here in this room obviously is where my bed used to be, where everything used to be, and now that stuff is completely gone. Computer and office setup is still here in the corner where it's been for a while, and it's actually kind of funny that the 3x5 tent that I've had since the very beginning is actually right where it started positionally. It's really funny, guys, because I sat down in this chair after this tent here had been set up, and I'm just like, oh my God, you know, I feel that looming shadow of that tent right next to me. And, you know, all the Q&A videos that I did, you know, basically anything that I did from my desk, you know, that tent was basically right there. And although it was moved over to the Epic 6K work area, it has eventually worked its way all the way back to where it originally started, although in a different room, but I think it's kind of funny nonetheless. But yeah, you know, we've obviously cleared out a lot of space, and I think that's incredibly important. You know, I generally preach at the minimum a 1-to-1 human space to plant ratio. And it really, guys, when you talk about that's really just in regards to working with the plants, you know, if you can manage it. But it really goes beyond that. You know, if you really want to have an open, lax environment where a lot of people can work on the plants at the same time, you really need to open up, you know, some space. So you can see we've got all this space here. Got the glass table with 2 seats. We can bring out a long table with at least 4 chairs, maybe more. Now that the dedicated work area is in this room, you know, we can take advantage of the entertainment, you know, with the television, also, you know, the computer with internet, good speakers. We can just kind of bang it out. Obviously, no problem making noise here in this room. And then we got the dry tent right here. So as we harvest the plants out of the 4,000 watt room, there's no reason to, you know, go between units. Everything stays right here and contained. And that's really just, you know, the best way to do it. Now, you probably noticed from watching this video, there are no windows in this place at all. There's only a skylight for access, very, very limited access, and that's the only place where I could actually do the air conditioning. And I actually did somewhat of a jerry rig here with a 10,000 BTU frigid air that I got at Genie Air Conditioning. And I really want to stress to all you growers out there that are in the Southern California area that need air conditioning units, they're very, very difficult to get this time of year, obviously. But if you head down to Genie, I believe they're on Calvert Street in Van Nuys. Oh my God, dude, they have some fucking amazing deals. 12,000 BTU box units for like under $200. Fucking awesome ones, and I'll show you guys some a little bit later. But this one here is a Frigidaire 10,000 BTU, and the reason why I ran this one is because I didn't want to, quite draw that much amperage in this room, since my computer and some other peripheral equipment, kind of draws electricity. So I didn't want to go overkill, and besides, 10,000 was way more than what I had before. And also the Frigidaire had, the molding, the plastic molding was very compatible with a manifold that I'd built. It's a solid manifold that has a 6-inch ducting piece connected to the end of it, and that is essentially fed through the slit there in the skylight. So it takes the warm air from the outside and exclusively pumps the cold air right into this room. And it works fucking awesome. I mean, it's like freezing cold in this room now with this setup. Even during the heat waves, it is completely unnoticeable. And I've shrouded the whole skylight area, so the light is completely blocked. This is basically a vampire setup. And yeah, it just works great. The only real drawbacks is that, it's obviously tough on the AC unit because the filtration is really not, the air filtration is not designed to be outdoors, really. So you do have to keep on top of that, really try to keep the unit clean. And secondly, the ducting, does contain metal, so obviously condensation does build up a bit. And you will get somewhat of a water drip, although not enough to cause any damage, but you don't want to have a table or anything like that underneath it. And you will occasionally catch raindrops if you walk through that area. Another important thing to note is that if you are going to run an AC like this and you do have to extend the AC, generally it's recommended that you do not do this. At least the manufacturers recommend that you don't do it, but you obviously can do it. But if you do, I would recommend at the minimum a 12 gauge extension. This is an expensive extension. I think at Home Depot it was like $30, to get a 12 gauge 25 foot, I believe is what this one is here. But no heat at all whatsoever on the cable with this thing running all the time. Yeah, it just seems, the power seems very stable and it works fucking great. And I got this AC unit here at Genie for under $200. So, fucking phenomenal. Generally speaking, to get like a, 8,000 BTUs at normal places are gonna cost you a lot more than that, and they have so much selection. So again, if you're in the area, you need an AC unit, you need it like that day, definitely check those guys out. So that pretty much goes over everything about the changes that we've made to the Moneymaker, which have been obviously quite dramatic. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of a gander here at what we've done over at what used to be the Epic 6K Garden. So let's check it out. Alright guys, so now we are hanging out in what used to be the dedicated workspace for the Epic 6,000 watt garden, and you can see that a lot of things have changed. We now have the 8x4 tent, which has the soon to be 450 watt LED setups. We've got a portable air conditioning unit in here now, and that's great because we never used to have air conditioning in this room at all whatsoever. All the fresh air was just brought in from that window, and that's all that we had to work with. The 3x5 tent used to be across that back wall where we did the Battle of the Blooms nutrient shootout, and then right to the right of that we had the Hydro Hut Silver, the Hydro Hut Silver Edition 3x3, which we used for a dry tent, but now we don't need that tent anymore. And actually decided to no longer do the test that I've been talking about. Just don't really want to sacrifice the square footage to have another tent. It didn't make sense to put it in the other work area because I want it more open, and there's just simply not enough room to have it in here, and I really don't want to deal with it anyways. The 8x4 garden is going to be more than enough work for myself and Dago G, and I think it's really important that we focus our efforts on making sure that this thing just goes off without a hitch. But obviously now that we've gotten all that extra 3x5 tent out of here, we've freed up a lot more workspace here in the center. Obviously we have the 8x4, but it's plugged up right in the corner, which is pretty much the best place to have it. To be honest, it would have been better to be able to push it against this wall, but the room wasn't quite long enough to accommodate both the reservoir and the air conditioner. So this configuration layout was really the only way to make it work, but it is very, very comfortable. Once this table here is broken down, there's a lot of open space here. It's obviously really easy to work, in here to water plants and do whatnot. But when it comes time to do cloning, then we can bust out the table, and we got plenty of room to keep the cloning, our rooting hormone, I should say, as well as trays with blocks and domes and all that stuff. No problem. Obviously we got the dedicated computer. Got to have the Mac going. Always a good idea to have entertainment, internet access for music and whatnot, so you can work. Always makes things a lot more fun. And once we finish doing the woodworks here, sealing off this window and whatnot, all this garbage here will be cleaned up, and we will get this place completely lickety split. But you can see it works really great, and I really love this tent, guys. I love the fact that it has windows on it. You can just bust it open, go ahead and take a look inside, see how your plants are doing. It's really, really great. The reservoir is right next to the plants. Air conditioning is as well, so everything is nice and centralized. Very, very easy to work in, and with a lot of space. And I think that's incredibly, incredibly important. So let's take a little stroll over here. You can see, guys, that this is basically what used to be the epic 6,000 watt indoor cannabis grow. And we've converted the racks. These racks here used to have all kinds of garbage and stuff, mostly related to growing. A lot of that stuff now has been disposed of or stored away more permanently, and I'm going to be using it just to essentially hold whatever shit that I want to put on here. Got my dresser in here, where the reservoir used to be, and right where the ballasts were. Going to be putting up like a little thing where I can hang shit. It kind of sucks that these units don't have any kind of storage, closeted or walk-in storage of any kind at all whatsoever. So you kind of have to store things in the open, and you have to plan your shit around that. But my nutrient rack here is perfect. Essentially going to be bringing in 60-inch plasma is going to go right there on the screen. We're going to have all this space to keep a computer, gaming system, whatever shit that I want to store on there. Right here where we used to have the 3 MaxFan 8s, there's now a brand new 12,000 BTU box unit, and a huge upgrade from the one the landlord left behind, which was a piece of shit. And it was also too small, and its watering vent was actually leaking right into the woodworks, which is obviously bad. There's a lot of damage there caused from that previous AC, but we obviously pulled that out. We had the 3 MaxFan 8s there. Had to cut it a little bit larger to accommodate this AC unit. But again, guys, the guys at Genie AC, $186 for 12,000 BTU, comes with a remote control, and my God, it keeps this room so clean. But that's pretty much the only damage that I'm not able to repair on my own. But I think it's going to cost me about $50. They're going to come in, cut a nice drywall frame. It's going to look perfect. And this place has been just completely restored, to a very, very nice apartment in much superior condition than it was when I originally took it over. That's for damn sure. And that's really, really important, guys. And that's kind of where I'm going to leave this video, is that there's a lot of growers out there that have kind of given us all a bad reputation. And it kind of sucks, because one of the things I always like to do is make sure I don't overly destroy where I want to grow. And if I have to do that to grow there, then I just would rather not grow there. I don't like cutting holes unnecessarily. I like using places where holes have already been cut, kind of more of a guerrilla style grow, because I want to be able to revert these places back to how they were fairly easily. You know what I'm saying? And this new layout is great, and I love just having an actual dedicated room that's like not kind of right in the open, that's kind of separated from everything else, and it's a lot cleaner, a lot nicer, and it's great. You know what I'm saying? So definitely gives me a nice place to kind of chill out at, and even stay at for extended periods if I have to work here for a while. You know what I'm saying? So but again, always keep that in mind, guys. Take good care of the places that you're working out of. Right now I think that growers kind of have a little bit easier time of it because the economy is really bad. And if you are a successful grower, you're probably going to be able to pay your rent and bills on time. But, that still doesn't give you free reign to just destroy your shit. Because if you do, it could hurt other growers that want to, rent. And they kind of have to hide the fact that they're growing all the time. Because, landlords not only are afraid you're going to run your shit all crappy, with no smell control and, just shitty crap going on, and you might even go as far as to possibly destroy the house. There's a lot of negatives, and I've really worked hard to overcome those objections with all my landlords, and they know me very personally, how I run my business, and everyone's been pretty hunky-dory thus far. So definitely do your part, to not fuck up our reputation when it comes to that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much where I wanted to leave it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little nuance and kind of checking out how things have changed. But yeah, obviously gonna be doing a lot more videos here in the future, and as we progress with this LED system and all the other grows that are in action. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. See you next time.